with us tonight. Really just a really great way to celebrate, to bring the celebration of Thanksgiving to an end with Shabbat. It always falls like this. Isn't that amazing? But it really is a wonderful holiday to have them both together. We're going to be on page 1 for the Ashrei, giving our community an opportunity to say the Mourner's Kaddish for the afternoon service. Even though it is too late to do the afternoon service, we'll do the Ashrei on page 1 in our blue book, and then followed by page 12 with the Mourner's Kaddish.
Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Hodyan Luchatzallah, Hashem Shkacha Lo, Hashem Shemai Lohat, Lo David, Amen
Zecher of Tuvah Yebi V'Sira Machud Machud Olanim Umem Shotecha B'Hod Ovedosu and Necho Alexer Bava Tanatana Tehilat and Adaber Piva Rekobasum
Tehilat Adonai Adaber Pivi Varech Kobas Hashem Kutzel Moed Vanach Nevarech Yach Metav Yaralam Hallelujah.
Let us all enable our voices so that we could join together with the call and response to the Mourner's Kaddish, page 12. Yit Gadal, Yit Gadash, Shmei Rabbah, Belma, Divra, Kirte, V'yamlich Malchute, V'chayachon, V'yomechon, V'chayei, Dechol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, B'zman Kariv, V'yiru, Amen. Yehei Shnei Rabbah, V'Olam, Yiparach, Yishtabach, Sedar, Yitalach, Amen. Please join us on page 13. It's an honor to have Jordan Foreman leading us this evening and over the whole weekend for services. And so we'll begin with Shalom Aleichem, page 13.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitekhem l'shalom, malachei ha'shalom, malachei ha'elyon. Mi melech, malachei ha'malachim, ha'kadosh baruch hu. We turn to page 15 for L'chun Ranana, and you all know that this is Thanksgiving weekend, and of course there's really three main types of prayer that you'll find in the Siddur and in our liturgy. You'll find prayers that say thank you, prayers that say I'm sorry, and prayers that say please. So what is Kabbalat Shabbat about? Well, Kabbalat Shabbat's usually about the thank you part, kind of except for this prayer, right? So it does talk about let us sing to Adonai, rejoice in our Creator, but let's look at the end of this prayer, the part that we actually sing out loud. God says, 40 years of contending with that generation led me to say, they are wayward, they care not for my ways. In indignation, therefore, did I vow, never would they reach my land, the land of peace, the land of rest. In other words, God saying the Jews, as it says in the Torah, are stiff-necked people, that they don't listen. And so there's kind of a little bit of a sorry here at the end of all this great thanks in our Kabbalat Shabbat service. With that, we will begin with the one prayer that's not entirely about thanks, the L'chun Ranana, page 15. L'chun Ranana l'Adonai, nari al-tzor yishenu, nikad mafanav b'todah, bizmirot nari alo, Nikad mafana bitoda bizmirot narialo. Arbaim shana kut betor vaomar am toy levavheim veheim layadun rachai asher nishpati v'api im yivon al menuchati. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, baruch shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo, b'chol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai. Umehulal me'od norahu al kol Elohim ay ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim v'Adonai shamayim asab hod v'hadar lefanav oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho Havul Adonai mishpachot hamim. Havul Adonai kavod va'oz. Havul Adonai kevod shemo. Sereu minacha uvomu lechatzrotav. Yishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrak kodesh. Chilu mipanav kol haaretz imru v'goyim Adonai malach avtikon tevel pa'alti mod yadin hamim b'meisharim yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiramayam umelo Yalo Sadai v'chol asher bo ay az yiranenu kol atzeyar lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel betzedek ve'yamim be'emunato ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 la. Page 17 on Malach Tagel Haaretz Yismechu Yim Rabim. Orzarum ala tzadik, o Yisrael lev simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, meodu lezecher kodsho. Mizmor shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, ki niflaot asab, Hoshia lo yemino, Uzaro HaKodesho, Odia Adonai Yeshuato, Le'enei Agoyim Gilat Tzidkato, Zachar Chasto Ve'emunato, Le'ved Yisrael, Ra'u Kol Achsei Haaretz. Et Yeshuat Eloheinu, Hariu l'Adonai, Kol haaretz, Pitzhu v'rannenu Zameru, Zamru Ladonai Bechol Bechinor Bechol Zimra. Bachatzotrot Vekol Shofar, Ariu Livnei HaMelech Adonai, Yiram Mayamu Meloho, Tevel V'yosh Ve'evah, Neharotim Cha'uchaf, Yachad Harim Yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai Kiva, Lishpot haaretz, Yishpot tevel b'tzedek, V'yamim b'mesharim, Yalai la yai la la la, yai la la, Yalai la 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 la, yalai, Yalai la 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 la, yai la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Page 19 of my mouth. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We now rise Psalm 29 on page 20. Mizmor leDavid Hamul Adonai b'nei Elim Havul Adonai Kavod Vaos Ay 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 Havul Adonai Kerevon Shemo Ishtachavu Adonai B'Hadra Kodesh Kol Adonai Al Hamayim El HaKavod Hirim Adonai Al Maim Rabim Kol Adonai Bakoach Ay 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 Kol Adonai Beradar Kol Adonai Shover Razim Vaishaber Adonai Et Arzei HaLevanon Vayarkidem Kemo Ekel Lebanon Vesirion Kemo Venereimim Ay 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 Kol Adonai Kotzei Lavodesh Kol Adonai Yachil Mibar Yachil Adonai Mibar Kadesh Kol Adonai Yicholel Ayalot Vayechetzof Ye'arot Uveichalo Kulo Omer Kavod Ay 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 Adonai Lama B'olei Hashav Yishev Adonai Melech Le'olam Adonai Ozni Amo Yitin Adonai Yevarech Amo Vashalom Ay 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 Yay, 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 yay. Yay, la 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 la, yay, yay, la la la, la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, yay, la 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 la, yay, la 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 la, yay, la 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 la. Please be seated as we welcome the Shabbat bride into our midst, into our homes, into our sanctuary, our chapel. L'chad Odi, page 21. Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela ay 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 lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor b'rimor echad ish miyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad, Shemo echad, l'shemo l'tiferet ve'litila, l'echad odin likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 pnei Shabbat, nekabela, yalalai, yalalai, l'echad odin likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 pnei Shabbat, nekabela, likrat Shabbat, l'chug ne'lechad, Kihi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machashav atechila lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela ay 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 lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela Mikdash melech ir meluchad Kumitzei mitoch hafechad Rav lach sheve piyei mekamacha Vehu yachamol alai yachamla Elecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela yalalai yalalai lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela itnari meyafar kumi livshi bidei tifartechami Al yad ben Yishai beid halachmi kurva al nafshi ge'alah Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela ay 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 lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela itareri itareri Kiva ore kumi ori Uri uri shira beri Kvod Adonai Allah yaknigla Elecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela yalalai yalalai lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela Lo tevoshi velo tikalami ma tishtochachi uma temi Bache yechesu ani yami ve nivneta ir al tilab Lecha dodi ay 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 likrat kalab Pnei Shabbat nekabela והיו למשיסה שועשייך ורחקו קומך בעלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס קטן על כליו לך דודי איי 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 לקראת כליו פני שבת איי 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 נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפארת צבי את אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי איי 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 לקראת כלה פני שבת איי 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 נקבלה בואי בשלומה תראה בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי איי 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 לקראת כלה פני שבת nekabela. Please be seated. Brooke, is everybody tired after Thanksgiving? No, everybody's. All right. So page 23, the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat. Tov l'Adon, Alei Ozer Shim Kal Yom, Lagi Babakar Hatzech Menuchim. Alei Ozer Ish bar le'ed aksu le'vinetzo, before Shemay Tzvias Malav, Shemay Rav Etamah. Od yenuvun b'seva, t'shenim rananim yiyu, le'agid ki ashar Adonai, tzuri v'lo avla tabo. Adonai malachei lavei shavei shanai sitazor, avtikon teva ba'al timot. Mikol mayim, mayim rabim adirim, mishpereyam, adir bamarom, Adonai, eidotecha, ne'emnu mi'od, Leved chanav hakodesh Adonai liorech yamim.
Those who are mourning or observing a yurtzeit, I invite you to enable your voices so that we could join in the call and response to the mourner's Kaddish, page 24. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemer rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirtei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shnei rabba mavorach le'olam umei umaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei Kedusha Brechu Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata Tush bechata v'nechamata Da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen Yehei shlama rabba min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen Oseh shalom b'imromav Huya aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us, again, online or in person. It's really wonderful to be able to spend this time with you all. In just a moment, I'm going to invite Jordan Foreman to bless our candles, which are already lit because it's already sundown. He'll offer the blessing. So anybody at home who has candles they like to light, let's get those set up so that we could do those. Oh, actually, you shouldn't light them at home, but if you've already lit them, whatever am I saying? It's a lot. When you ask who's tired, I am. So I wanted to offer a thought about this kind of convergence of Shabbat and Thanksgiving. So believe it or not, it's not so easy for me to tie Thanksgiving in a Jewish way. And that's because of two kind of directions that I'm being pulled in. Number one is the idea of gratitude is what Judaism's all about. After all, we are named Jews, Yehudim, right? Yehudim comes from the tribe of Yehuda, who is he's named because his mother had gratitude, like Todah, Yehuda, right? You could even hear it in those Hebrew words. So the idea of gratitude is all us. It's what we've got. It's what our prayers are all about. Jordan said earlier about the idea of not only asking and making requests, but also of giving gratitude and acknowledging God. Those are part of our being. We do it 3 times a day, 4 on Shabbat, 5 on Rosh Hashanah, or 5 on Yom Kippur, 4 on Shabbat and holidays, and 5 on Yom Kippur. That's how important it is to give gratitude. But of course, with Thanksgiving comes because of a lot of different factors. It becomes a little challenging. Much of what I end up doing on Thanksgiving, as far as Jewishly, is pastoring or offering pastoral counseling to those families who are together, which is sometimes difficult for some families over that long period of time. Keeping a distance is sometimes better for families. And when they all come together, Sometimes I get those texts or those calls about, or even when the holiday is coming up, what am I going to do when they're all together and we start arguing about this or that? So that's one of the challenges, of course, with Thanksgiving. And then, of course, there's the commercial element of it, which I've talked about in sermon after sermon over the many years I've been here, which is very frustrating. Black Friday is a very frustrating experience of that. That is how we show gratitude, by consumption, by buying things. I know it's important for our economy, but there just seems to be all types of pitfalls with that whole concept. And so Thanksgiving becomes a little difficult for me to weave in that kind of Jewish angle. It seems like it would be perfect, but then it has its trouble. But I learned something this year which really fascinated me, and I thought gave me a new insight, or reminded me of some important insight about gratitude. Was that the holiday of Thanksgiving, there is the myth that we have about the Pilgrims and the Indians coming together, and that story might have been true, I don't know, but if it was, something went terribly wrong at some point in history. Terribly wrong, because when I made the construction paper hat and the little construction paper belt buckle in school and celebrated that with all the songs and things like that, we didn't do the next step of that, which was the disease that came to the Native Americans, the fighting that ensued between them, and all the chaos. You probably could watch a Ken Burns documentary all about that. You don't need me to tell you about it. The holiday, though, even though it might have its roots way back when, I'm not a historian, I can't tell you, but the holiday itself came around in 1863. It was officially created as a holiday, assigned in 1863. Well, that's very late for my construction paper hat and construction paper belt buckle I used to make in school. Because we weren't talking about 1863, we were talking about the 1600s, when those stories took place. And what I learned is that there was a group of people who were pushing for this day of national gratitude, and Abraham Lincoln, the president at the time, grabbed onto that and supported it, and that officially became, in the midst of the Civil War, a holiday of Thanksgiving was created. That's remarkable. That really is remarkable. And I didn't put all those dates and things together. I definitely didn't learn that in school. I don't think I did. But that is when gratitude is most needed. Let's be honest. When things are going well, we are the least grateful. Isn't that the case? When things are going well, we are the least grateful. And when we need gratitude the most is when things aren't going so well. And so it's really remarkable that this holiday came about in a time where this country didn't know if it was going to be continuing at all. Any side was a losing side during the Civil War. Family was killed all over the place in that, and they were all American. And so there were just body bags coming home the entire time, and this holiday of gratitude. I mean, you want to talk about chutzpah, that is an incredible act to do. And that is when we need gratitude the most, is when things are difficult. So my lesson, my takeaway for this year's Thanksgiving is that when things are tough, that is the spiritual exercise that we must do. Find something to be grateful for. When time is dark, find something to shine a light on in order to have gratitude become that spiritual practice that lifts us up and sends us out into a world that is grateful and a world that is whole. Shabbat Shalom. I'll give Jordan an opportunity to make the blessing over the Shabbat candles, and then we'll continue on page 28 in the middle of the page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're going to continue middle of page 28.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Umavir yom u'merevi layla, umavdil ben yom u'velayla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu le'olam v'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'mariv aravim, ahavat olam beit Yisrael, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shokveinu u'vekumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha. V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayinu, v'yorech yaminu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem nege, yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Yahavat chal tesir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, El Melech Ne'eman, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Mi'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, B'chol avavecha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol miyodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam alevanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivdecha b'veitecha, v'lechtecha v'derech, v'shochvecha v'kumecha, Ushartam le'orai yadecha, vayule totafo bein einecha, uktavtam al mizuzot beitecha, uvisharecha vayayim shmutzu mitzvot. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 32. U'malchuto b'ratzon kiblu alechem. Moshe v'nei Yisrael achanu shira, b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norat hilod osei v'eleh, malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, Zeli anu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'gyalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Let's read together the Hashkimenu prayer in the English page 33 at the top. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. Ushmor tzeitenu v'oinu l'chaim u'l'shalom et avi ad olam u'fros al ritzukat shlomecha baruch atah Adonai aporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael me'al Yerushalayim. Please rise for B'Shamru, following which we will go directly, to our silent Amida, pages 35b through 38. B'Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asor et ha-Shabbat, L'dorotam berit olam, ay, beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, od hilei olam, ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz, Uvayom Hashvi'i Shabbat Vayinafash. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol het ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. We continue at the top of page 47 with the very abbreviated repetition of our Amidah. Vayechulu, top of page 47. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayekadesh oto ki vo shavat mikol melachto ki vo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. We now continue, we go straight to the Kiddush for Shabbat, page 49. Savrim Ranam Rabbanam Rabbatai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Morei Peri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yavav ratzon hinchilanu, Zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila le'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, B'yahava u'b'ratzon hinachaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. So for those of you that were on Minyan, which was virtual on Wednesday, you remember that I had the pleasure of having not one, not two, but three rabbis from this congregation all appear. And I mentioned a word, maleh v'gadush, that the cup was overflowing with rabbis that day. So too was my cup, that it was all I could do to avoid a spill here today. Overflowing. Again, something to be thankful for, though, right? A blessing. There we go. Gratitude. Very good. We continue. Please rise for the Aleinu, page 51. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet genula liyotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shana Shemayim V'Yasar Atzma Shavich Shavich Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar Haya Adonai lemelech ala kol haaretz bayom mahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. With great sadness this past week, our community lost Gerald Eisen, the father of Ellen and Lee Altschuler, Nancy and Steve, grandfather and great-grandfather. We pray that the Eisen family is getting the support that they need during this time. We also note the continuing Shloshim period, 30 days after passing, for for Samuel Kaplan, Michelle Lewis, Darren Seldes, Phyllis Alterman Franco, and Lowell Nuremberg. And on this, the 2nd of Kislev, we remember the yurtzeits of Malcolm Sam Alterman, brother of Joanne Singer, Zelda Berman, a mother of Hazel Karp, Helen Hillman Cohen, mother to Judy Cogan and Mark Cohen, Arnaldo Feodotin, husband to Rosie, father to Deanna, Macy Donald Glenn, father to Jimmy and Dale Glenn, Zelda Goldstein, great aunt to Philip Goldstein, Ray Goodman, wife of Rabbi Arnold Goodman, Garrett Kaufman, son of Barbara Saul Fleming, William Moses Lubell, father to Alan Lubell, Saul Edward Nassau, father to Kenneth, and Koppel Wilinski, grandfather to Kenneth Nassau. We also continue to hold those who come every morning and evening to our daily prayer service, remembering Leon Goldstein, Steve Sandusky, Malcolm Minsk, Don Gilner, Rosalind Davidson, Sandra Adair, Marvin Silverman, Lord Chavinsky, Jacob Doloboff, Jerry Kotler, Hank Oxman, Leslie Parker, David Carl Yarm, Bobby Lax, Rita Tuvlin, David Siegel, Marsha Lynn Moatar, Adrian Cohen, Al Filsuf, Kelly Inney, Saul Schoenberg, Al Bahar, Gloria Bahar, Susan Open, and Sharon Hamburger. If I've omitted any names, please forgive me. But know that we continue to hold you and walk with you as you remember your loved ones, as we enable our voices so we could join together, call and response of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 52. Yit Gadal, Yit Kadash, Shemer Rabbah. Elma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chaye b'chol Beit Yisrael b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen Yehei Shmei Rabba B'orach V'olam Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitlamam v'yiseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudashav B'richu Le'ela Mikol B'chata V'shirata Shishbechata v'nechamata v'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom v'mav v'yaseh shalom Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. Jordan, thank you for leading this evening. Damon Fanuni, thank you so much for your AV wizardry. We appreciate you keeping us online and going. Thank you to everybody who showed up in person and online. Tomorrow morning, 9:30 in the morning. 10:30, Dr. Joe Citron will be leading Torah study. It's going to be a nice night, or a nice day tomorrow, so please be with us. Minyan in the evening is, I think, set for 5:15, so please join us online only for that, 5:15, but we do hope you'll come by tomorrow morning for our services. Other than that, lots of other things going on, so please check the e-blast or the website, and we look forward to having you with us often. Let's conclude our service with the Yigdal.
Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach נמצא וינד אל מציאותו אחד אין יחיד כי ייחודו נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף לא נערוך אליו קדושתו כמון לכל דבר אשר נברא ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו הינו אדון עולם בכל נוצר יורה גדולתו ומלכותו שפע גבורתו ניתנו לאנשי סגולתו ותפארתו לא קם ישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את אמונתו תורת אמת נתן לי המוהל על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו לא יכל לפעל ולא ימיר דתו לעולמים לזולתו צופה ויודע סתרנו מביט בסוף דבר לקמתו גומל איש חסד כמפעלו נותן לרשע רע כרישתו יסלח לקץ הימין משיחנו Tifdod mechakekes, Yeshuato metim yechaya el, Berov chasto. Baruch Hadei Ad Shem Dehilato Metim Yechaya El Berov Chasto Baruch Hadei Ad Shem Dehilato. Shabbat Shalom. See you all in about 15 hours.
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Shalom, good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shalom.
Good to see you, Miss
Shabbat
Stacy.
shalom. Good
Shabbat
Shabbos.
shalom. It's very good to
Neil,
see
it's
you.
good to see you, Brother Neil.
Shalom,
Hey, look
everybody.
who's